we are having a restful weekend. So please, as usual, please let me know if you can hear me in this section, please. Good evening, everybody. Oh, all right, all right. Thank you very much. So please, now is a good time to reach out to your friends or your sisters, right? Just let them know that we are about to start because we have a lot to cover. Yes, please. Let's just give them a grace of 3 more minutes. So exactly 5 minutes past time, we'll be starting, please. So thank you very much. All right. So good evening, everybody. I trust we all had a restful weekend, and I believe we've given others enough time, enough grace for them to join us. So we will be starting now. But before I begin, thank you all very much for your comments and observation towards how the class has been so far. You guys will agree with me that we have a lot of persons joining us in this session, so it's always a bit hard to keep up with the comments, right? So I do try my very best to answer as much questions as I can answer rather from the comment section, but you all agree with me that it is near impossible for me to answer everybody. So please do not feel offended if I am not able to answer your question during the course of this session. But trust me, I'm trying my very best to attend to every question that I can. Yes, and also All right, yeah, that should be all. So thank you all very much. Tonight's session, we are changing our approach so far because of the amount of persons that we have, the number of persons we have joining us in this class. So what we will be doing is we are going to be discussing the concepts, and then we are going to have an interactive session where I explain these things to us, and I try my very possible best to show us how this relates to real life and how you are going to work, how you are going to attend to this in a real life scenario as a cybersecurity analyst, which we hope to become very soon. Yeah, so you might notice a little adjustment in the style of lecture today. So please just have that in mind. Yes, and also please, if I don't answer your question, please just try as much as possible to resend it so that my eye can catch it, and then I will try my very possible best to give an answer to your question. Yes, and also just a little observation. We have a few persons who might join us late, right? And then they ask question. My advice is if you are joining late, please just take the time to start the video, right? Go over the video to get an idea of what we are discussing in the class, right? That will help a whole lot. So thank you very much. And also for my speed, I'm going to try my very possible best to move as slow as possible so we all can grasp what we are discussing for tonight, because we've come to observe that we have a lot of persons coming from different backgrounds and other stuff. So some things that I before now assumed that most of us should be familiar with, I just noticed that okay, it is still a bit far-fetched for some of us. So I'm going to try as much as possible to explain like I'm explaining to somebody in nursery one, right? So that we all can grasp and understand. So if you have a little bit of technical knowledge, please don't feel offended. We are just trying as much as possible to make sure that everybody understands what we are explaining in this session. So thank you all very much. So we will just jump straight at it now. So, as usual, welcome to my class. Today, we will be discussing malware prevention and removal, right? Malware prevention and removal. So, please, if you do not know what malware is, now is not a time to start panicking. We are here to demystify what a malware is, right? So we'll get to explaining what a malware is, what you should do as a cybersecurity professional when you come across a malware. So you notice that I'm not saying if, it is a matter of when you will come across a malware, because your goal as a security professional is to help protect organization, and in the process of protecting an organization, definitely not once, not twice, not thrice, in a numerous time you are going to come across malware. So how do you prevent these things from compromising or bringing your organization right to its new? Then okay, after detecting malware, it's not all malware that you can prevent from getting into the system, right? In security we say, oh, the weakest link to security is the people, are like the persons in your organization. So one way or the other, there's probably going to be somebody that is going to expose your organization to risks, right? That's going to expose your organization, right? And after exposing your organization, maybe one way or the other, your technology is failing and a malware has gotten into your environment. How then do you handle the situation? How then do you remove this malware from the organization network? So, this is what we will be discussing today. So, as usual, my name is Emmanuel Akobi Ajibolu. I am a Christian, a penetration tester, security analyst. I have a couple of certifications, and I work for an organization here in Abuja, Nigeria, with the name Cyber Limited. Attached is my LinkedIn profile, the link to my LinkedIn profile for some of you that that might want to connect with me on LinkedIn. Yes. So, thank you all very, very much. So, our agenda for today, one, we are going to start by introducing what a malware is. So, what exactly is a malware? I can see in the comment that some of you are already making beautiful comments, right? Malicious software. Very, very beautiful. Very, very correct. So, we will be introducing what a malware is. We'll be defining what a malware is, right? For just a little spoiler, right? Most people, when they are talking about malware, they just say, oh, virus, right? It is a virus. So we'll be looking at, oh, is a malware actually virus, or a virus is just a subset of the general class malware? So we will be we will be looking at this today. Then after this, now we will be looking at how malwares infect system. So for you as a security professional, right, for you to be top of your game, you need to know how the bad guys are doing their stuff. You need to know how a malicious attacker, right, is going to infect your system. It is when you know how, what their techniques, their practice, and their procedures are, it is then that you can properly protect your organization, right? The organization that you are working for, right? So we are going to be looking at how malwares infect system. And after that, we are going to be looking at the consequences of malware attack, right? So looking at, okay, what is at stake in should in case a malware attack gets successful, what is at stake? So we'll be looking at the things that are at stake, and then after understanding how malware works, what exactly a malware is, how an attacker would go about infecting an organization network, and the consequences, right, the disaster that is going to happen after that, we are going to be looking at how we can prevent malware, right? So malware prevention best practices. We'll be looking at malware prevention best practices, right? Then after that, after understanding how best we can prevent malwares from coming into the organizational network, the next thing we'll be looking at is how then can we remove a successful malware attack. So that is for number five. We'll be looking at how best to remove um a successful malware attack, how best to handle the event, right? Then after that, we are going to be looking at the tools for malware detection and removal. So as a security professional, there are some tools, there are some platforms, there are some softwares. Now, when I say tool, I am talking about softwares, right? There are some softwares or some website that you need to be aware of. So by having this at hand, you can properly respond. Now, not react, you can properly respond to a security event or a security incident, right? Then we will be looking at is study a case study, right? A malware attack. We are going to be looking at it together. So it's going to be like our demo session where we'll be understanding and investigating a successful malware attack. And then after that, we are going to be handling the incident. And then we'll be looking at some things that we call TTPs, right? That's technique, tactics, and procedures of an attacker. So trust me, it is going to be an interesting session, but then I need you to try to cooperate with me. I'm going to try my very possible best to move at a very steady pace. Yes, so let's all work together to make sure that tonight is successful. So thank you all very much. So before we jump to introduction to malware, so as usual, I will ask, so what do you understand by malware? So if you have any understanding before now of what a malware is or whatsoever it is that you feel a malware is, please type it in the comment section. Let's just do this quickly in the next 2 minutes. So I'm going to be looking at the comment section, and then I'm going to be, oh, what do you understand before now? Then we are going to try as much as possible to debunk some wrong knowledge. Okay, so there are some things maybe you believe whatever you believe. You might believe a malware is something, but it is something else. So please, now is a good time to do that. So I'm looking at my time now. This is 7:16 by my time, and I'm going to take the comment for 2 minutes. So any comment that is coming after that, I will probably not attend to it. So make sure your comment comes in before 7:18. That is 18 minutes past 7 by my own local time here. So thank you very much. I have a couple. Malware means malicious ware. Very correct from Oluwafemi Opeyemi. Malware is a malicious program that causes harm to a computer system. From Jesu Sola. Very, very correct, right? A software that is malicious, from Mercy Okon. True, that's also correct. Malware is any software designed to harm or gain unauthorized access, okay, to a computer system. Also very, very correct. Okay, I believe the comments are making a lot of sense. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, I have another one from Oluwafemi, right, which is saying malware could be a virus, Trojan, worm. Okay, very, very correct. It is to affect the operation. Okay, now this is running up of a network. Yes, very, very true. So any malwares are malicious ware that disrupt activities. Okay, now it has run up. Where is this? And gain access to a computer. Very, very correct. Okay, I have something very simple from Caroline. Malware is a negative software. All right, so thank you all very much. Beautiful, beautiful comment. And a lot of you are very, very correct with what you've explained. So please let's stop the comments now so we can get back to work. So introduction to malware. So a malware, right, short for malicious software, right, refers to any program or file that is harmful to a computer user, right? It is designed to disrupt. That is one thing. It is designed to damage, right? Or it could also be designed to what? Gain unauthorized access to a system, right? So any software, right, that is any software or program or file that is harmful to a computer user. Now, computer user, it is not just harmful to the computer alone, it could be harmful to the computer user as well. Now, it is designed to either disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a system. So when we say disrupt, that means maybe it crashes the network or it crashes the system in question, right? That means nothing is working. Are we following? So an example, maybe there's a malware that is designed to carry out what we call a DOS attack, which is a denial of service attack. So this attack, the sole aim of this kind of attack, or the sole aim of any software that is carrying out this kind of attack, is to just what? Disrupt service, to make sure that nothing is available to the people who need the resources, right? Or the resource. It could also be designed to damage a system. So you bring the entire system down, right? The system is not working as expected, right? Or you delete sensitive files. So there are some sensitive files on operating systems such as Windows or Linux that once these files have been deleted, then the system cannot work as is expected. So that is pretty much it. Then also a malware could be designed to what? Gain unauthorized access to a system. So there are some malwares that, once they get into the system, what they do is what they do next is to bring in the attacker into the system that got compromised, or maybe it is a network that got compromised. Then this malware then bring the attacker into the network, right? What we call this kind of malware, some a very good example of this are malwares which we call droppers, right? So they get into the system and then they bring other things in, including an attacker. So yes, so that is it for introduction to malware, right? So types of malware, right? So not all, contrary to what most people think, not all malwares are viruses. So virus, like I said, is just a subset of the general class, right? It is just a type of malware. So contrary to a lot of people, oh, my system got infected by a virus. No, it is how the malware behave that you give a malware, you judge a malware by its class depending on the behavior of the malware. So what exactly are viruses? So viruses infect files and replicate themselves, spreading throughout a system. So viruses are malicious software that once they get into your system, they are going to infect the system. Now, not just infect the system, they are going to what? Replicate themselves. So any malware that has the ability to replicate itself, spreading throughout the system, is what we call a virus. I hope we are all following. I hope we are all following the build up. Now, the next we have is what we call worms. Now, worms are stand-alone softwares that also replicate themselves without needing to attach to a host program. Now, you notice that, oh, the definition of a virus and that of a worm are very, very close, right? But if you should look at it, you will notice that you agree with me that for a virus to replicate itself, it must first what? Infect a file. That means a file must first get infected. But for a worm, it is just a standalone program. So a worm do not need to infect system files in order for it to what? Replicate itself. I hope we're all following. So this is a little bit tricky. So I'm just off next now. I'm going to give you grace of 2 minutes. If you do not understand or you find it confusing, which is find the difference between a virus and a worm confusing, please quickly drop it in the comment section. So 2 minutes, let's do this as quickly as possible. So exactly 25 minutes past time, I'm going to stop taking comments and then I'm going to attend to every single comments or every single unclarity documented in the comment section. All right, so Oparinde Comfort says she do not understand. Okay. Ivy said I should go over the explanation again. All right. Not duly noted, Ivy. So let's take more. Let's take more. Okay, Ivy, I understand you. So let's take more. Okay, so this is 24 minutes past time. So we have less than a minute to go before I attend to the questions before 7:25 my time. Okay, so a lot of the comments are saying, oh, I should go over it again. So I will, okay, 25 minutes past time. So please let's stop the question. I'm going to go over it again. So a virus, right, is a malicious software which infects a file and then replicates itself, spreading throughout the system. Now, a worm is a stand-alone malicious software that replicates itself without needing to attach to a host program. So what this is saying is that, oh, for a virus to replicate itself, it must first infect a file. That means it must first attach itself to a file. Now, but for a worm, it is a standalone program. It does not need to infect any file. It does not need to attach itself to any computer program or file before it gets to what? Replicate itself. So that means before a virus gets successful at replicating itself, it must first what? Attach itself to a file. It must first infect a file. I hope this has properly explained it. Please let me know if you now understand. All right, it is clear now. Thank you very much, Kemi Christiana. Any other person, Ivy and others, um, the sibling squad. Is it clear now? Okay, Oparinde says clear. Ivy says it's clear. All right, so I can proceed. Thank you very much. So now for a Trojan, right? A Trojan is a malicious software that disguises itself as a legitimate software, but then underneath are what malicious code. So Trojan got his name from Trojan horse from way back in history, right? You could look that up online. But basically, any program or software, right, that claims to be something, right, but underneath is doing something else. We call these sorts of malware Trojan horses or Trojan. So I hope we all understand. So for example, you go on maybe on the internet and then you see a software that claims to optimize your phone, right? A software that claims to clear your phone memory in order to or boost your phone, right? Claims to whenever you run this software, your phone is going to be working faster than it's supposed to. But after downloading the software, you notice that, this software is actually stealing some of my private information. So any software, right? This kind of software are softwares that we call what? Trojan horses. So they claim to be doing something, they look legitimate. In fact, some of them will be doing what they tell you that they are doing. It's not like they won't be doing this, right? It will be doing it, right? But then underneath, it is doing something else, right? That you are not aware of. So I hope this is clear. So thank you. Let's move on. So next we have what we call ransomware. So just like in real life, right, we have kidnappers, right? So let's take this as an example. A kidnapper will kidnap somebody or their victim, and then they are going to ask for a ransom, right? So until the ransom gets paid, they do not release the victim. So the same thing happens in IT, where think of it as somebody that kidnaps your system, kidnaps a system, or the person could kidnap an entire network. So what exactly do Emmanuel mean by kidnapping an entire network? So they encrypt all the files, right? So after encrypting all the file, then the attacker will then demand for a ransom. So it is until after the ransom has been paid that the decryption key for the system files or the network files can will then be sent to the owner of the system or network, and then access will be gotten back to all these files. So it is like kidnapping a person's file, a person's system, or an organization network. So any software, any malicious software that is encrypting all the system files and asking for money to be paid is tagged ransomware, right? So thank you very much. Then we have what we call spyware. So a spyware secretly records user activities to steal sensitive information, right? So spyware secretly records your activity. So any software, any malicious software that you have that is stealing information from you, any malicious software that you have that is spying on you is called a spyware. Very, very simple and straightforward. Then we have hardware. So hardware display unwanted advertisements which are sometimes malicious, right? So hardwares are softwares that displays unwanted advertisements. So I have somebody in the comment section. I saw your question, right? But I decided to leave it till now before I attend to it. This person was asking, let me look for it quickly. Will you classify those loan ads that pop up as Trojan. No, so these are these are adverts. So unwanted advertisements, right, that pop up from time to time. And then most time when you click on them, they lead you to maybe pornographic websites, right? Or they secretly install malicious softwares on your device. Now, by your device, I mean either your mobile phone or your laptop computer or whatsoever computing device that you have, right? So these are what adware. So they come in the form of what unwanted advertisement, right? Then we have what we call rootkits. So rootkits give attackers administrative access, often hiding other malwares. So a rootkit compromise the system at a very deep level, and then they give an attacker what administrative access. So other type of malware might just happen as in the at the user level, right? At a low user level, right? But rootkits go as far as what the administrative level, right? And then it's going to hide itself. So it is going to be as stealth or as quiet as possible. So oftentimes this is like the hardest to what to detect, right? It's going to hide itself, and then not just hide itself, sometimes it will also bring in other malicious software to the compromised system or the compromised network. So I'm going to take a quick pause now, and I'm going to give us another grace of 2 minutes. So if you do not understand any of what I've explained, please, now is a good time to comment that in the comment section so I can quickly attend to it before we proceed with the other part of today's lecture. So this is 33 minutes past time. So I'm going to stop taking questions at 35 minutes past time so that we can move to other things that we have for today. Okay, so I have a few questions here. So one, okay, this is not to me. Someone, Uni said I should talk about rootkit. Sibling Squad is also requesting for kits. Gifts. Please, more explanation on spyware and hardware. Okay, I will. Okay. The difference between Trojan and rootkit. Okay, no problem. Ivy, how would you know you are a victim of a spyware? Okay, we'll be looking at that too. How do you identify Trojan? Okay, okay, so it is 35. Please let's stop the question so we can jump back to work. So now a rootkit is a malicious software that compromises a system. Fine, we understand that. Now, when there are different types of users in a computer, right? For most of us that use a Windows system, right? There are some kind of activities that you want to perform on your system. Then your system is going to give you like a pop-up menu, and it's going to tell you, okay, so in order to continue to do this, you need to do this to carry out this activity. You need to do this as an administrative user. Do you want to do it? Yes or no? right? Most time then we select yes. Now at that moment of selecting yes, you are not just doing that, you are not carrying out that operation or that activity as the norm as a normal or low level user on that system. You are carrying it that operation out as a higher privilege user. Now, for other malware, for different types of malware, for other type of malware, right? When they infect a system, the infection or the compromise might happen at the low level user, right? At the low level user level, right? So but for rootkit, it's not just low level user. It tries to infect what administrative or high level user, and it doesn't just stop there. After infecting the high level or administrative user, it is going to what hide itself. It's going to be as stealth as possible. That means you might not even know that there is any malware or any malicious software on that system, right? So let me give you an example now. Let's compare rootkit for understanding purpose. Let's compare a rootkit against a what? Against a virus. Now, once a virus gets into a system, it's going to infect the file, right? That means definitely after infecting the file, it's going to replicate itself. You start seeing new files popping up on your system, files that you were not the one who created them. Definitely, as a user, you are going to know that okay, there is a problem with my computer, right? But for rootkit now, you are not going to see any of this behavior. Your system will be acting normal. Your system will be acting perfectly normal until when the attacker wants to what? To strike you. So I believe this has explained the difference between rootkit and what other types of malware. Now, to the next question, someone was asking, okay, what is the difference between a Trojan and what and rootkit? So, like I explained, one of the most important aspect of a rootkit is that it infects at what higher level, at administrative level, right? It seeks what administrative access. So a Trojan might infect a low level user account, and that is all, right? It might come in and everything low level, no problem. But for rootkit, it doesn't stop at the low level. It needs something that is higher. It needs higher power. Let's put it that way. So I think I have attended to all the questions. Okay, so let's proceed. So thank you all very much. Okay, so how malwares infect system. So having understand the various type of malware that we have, how then do these malwares infect systems, right? How do they get into a system? That right? So somebody was asking, oh, how can I know if my I have been infected with a Trojan, right? Okay, fine. We will first look at how these infections will happen. So once you know that, and once you know how these infections happen, you can, as security professional, prevent whatever organization, the staffs of whatever organization that you are working with, from falling victim, right? So one, we have what we call phishing mail. So, for the sake of clarity, I want to assume some of us in this class do not know what phishing means. So, phishing has to do with baiting somebody, right? Or baiting somebody in a network, right? So, once you are baiting somebody in order to accomplish your malicious intent, right? We call that phishing. So, let's say, for example, um you were browsing on the internet, right? And in the process of browsing, you see something like click to win, right? So that is a bait. If you should click on that link, most time that link might lead to what? Downloading malicious software into your system. So and that's what I've just explained now is a typical example of what a phishing link. Now, so when we say phishing email now, so these are emails, right, that tries to fool you, right? They bait you into what's carrying out an action, which most time has to do with what? Clicking on links or downloading malicious attachments. So malicious attachment or link disguised as what? Legitimate communication. So let me give you an example of what a phishing mail will look like. So maybe I scraped the internet, carried out what we call information gathering about a target organization, and then I'm able to lay my hands on maybe 5 email addresses that I know are working within that organization. Then I send a mail, right? In process of sending the mail, right, then I attach a malicious file, right, that once this malicious file is downloaded into the system and executed, is going to what? Give me access into the network, right? Then I write something like, hello, dear Catherine in organization x.yz.com, right? Find attached the financial codes for the blah 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 blah. Now, there is no financial conversation between myself and organization x.yz.com. So there is no need for me to send any message to that organization. So if catering is not being careful, right? If catering should download that malicious attachment and execute it on her system, then what? She has fallen victim to what? A phishing mail. I hope we're all following. So that is what phishing emails, right? So you should be wary of emails. So if you do not have any conversation, right? So as a cybersecurity professional, you know now that, oh, whatever organization that you are working for, whatever organization that you are protecting, right? You should tell your staff, the staff of that organization, that, oh, if you receive any email, right, from a strange email address or whatsoever it is, you should be wary of these kind of things, and you should not what? Download whatsoever attachment is that comes with what? With the email. So then the next we have is malicious download. So malicious download now, software or applications downloaded from untrusted sources, right, that contains malware. So and a very good example of this, right, we as a security professional, I believe you should be aware, or if you are not, um just note it now, that for mobile phones, right, for Android phones, it is not advisable to download application outside what? The Play Store. Now, for iOS, it is not advisable to download any software outside the what? The App Store. So those are what? Trusted sources of getting what? Softwares. So if you want to download any software, and you have to download it from a third party platform, right? Then you should be wary of things like this. You should be very, very careful. So whatever software it is, either on mobile phone or on computer, right? On maybe laptop computer or desktop computer, whatever type of computer it is, you should make sure that you are downloading it from the what? Legitimate and trusted source. So when you have to download software from a website that you do not know about, an organization that has no reputation, right? A website that has no reputation, then there's a high chance that you might be what? Exposed to what? Malware infection. Then we have software vulnerability. So exploiting unpatched flaws in software. So example is what? Outdated operating systems and application. So there is for some people, right? They'll tell you, oh, I just like this particular version of the software. I do not want to update. No, there are a lot of reasons why companies dish out what? Updates. And one of the most common reasons for this is what? this for an update is what? Security issue. Maybe there is a vulnerability attached to the previous version, and then a fix was made and an update was rolled out, right? So another common way that systems or systems get infected is what? Through unpatched vulnerabilities So next we have what? Infected USB devices. Infected USB devices. Please, can you guys hear me now? Okay, please. Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me now? All right, all right. Okay. So next we have what? Infected USB devices. So transferring malware to a system when infected storage devices are plugged in. So let me give you a practical example of this. Sometimes, right, in the process of carrying out a penetration test, maybe after we've tested the network and there's no vulnerability from the network angle, right, we as pen testers, we can decide to get malicious USB devices. Now we call these malicious USB devices rubber ducky, right? And then we are going to litter them across the environment of the what? Of the clients that have contacted us to come and test their network and their people. Now, if anybody picks any of this malicious USB device, right, and plugs it into their system, as soon as they plug it into their system, then they what? Give us access to that network without even doing anything. The only thing they need to do is to what? Plug in that USB device to their network. So, moral of this story, please, whenever you find a USB stick or whenever you find a USB device on ground, please don't feel you are lucky. Don't feel it's your lucky day. No, no, no. It's the USB device might actually have been intentionally dropped, right? For you to pick and then compromise your system or what? Or the network. So malware infect systems through what? Infected USB devices. Then the next one is websites. Malicious websites. So drive-by downloads, right? Or malicious scripts that automatically execute when visiting compromised websites. So malicious websites. So this and a very good example of this is all those malicious all those download websites, all those movie download websites, right? So a lot of them are infected, right? A lot of them have one form of virus or the other. A lot of them have malicious scripts being attached, right? That's why most time when you click on something, it's taking you to another website, right? So for the folks in Nigeria, maybe you click download and then it's taking you to Bet Nigeria website, right? So that is an example of an infected website, right? So you should be wary of this kind of website. Yes, pop-ups. Thank you very much, Juliet Ude. Thank you very, very much for that beautiful contribution. Ajiboye Elizabeth, especially USB devices at some airport or train station. Very, very correct. Very, very correct. Thank you very much, Ajiboye Elizabeth, for that beautiful comment. So So now we are at interactive session. So please, if you do not understand any of what I've explained, any of the concept I've explained before now, please, now is a good time to document that. We are going to do this for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So now it's 7:51 my time, so I'm going to stop taking comments by 7:54, right? Then if you have contribution, maybe you've noticed that you've noticed somebody asking a question and you feel you can attend to it, please also drop it in the comment section. And if you have any story you want to share with us, right, also drop it in the comment section. So we are going to do this very quickly for 3 minutes before we run to the next thing that we have for today. All right, Benita said, LOL, redirecting to Bet Niger website, very common. Yes, yes, yes. If you are a true Nigerian, you should be able to relate with that funny experience. Thank you very much, Benita. Okay, can USB cards for charging with? Yes, 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 they can. So part of, let's just do this as part of the comment section, please. What I want to do now is to show us a website. So for those that might get confused, let me explain now so everybody can follow along. There's a website that sell these devices, right? So now they sell it to legitimate people, right? Most time they try to vet you to, right, as professionals, cybersecurity professionals, we use some of these things, right? So we have a web an organization that produces these things and sell, right? The name of the organization is Hack 5. So they have different type of devices. It could be charging cable, right? It could be USB stick, whatever. A lot of things that you might not a normal person might not imagine can actually infect their system. So let me quickly show you their website. So Hack 5. I want to believe everybody can see my browser. Okay, so let's search for Hack 5. Right, so this is their website. So you can see now it's saying pen test tools and what media. So if you go to their website now, so you can see some of the devices they sell. So you can see this what we call Wi-Fi pineapple, right? Zero access point. So if you should connect to this Wi-Fi, you are in trouble. Then you can see for the person who was asking charging cable, so you can see this um OMG cable, right? So convert USB cable, right? So it works as a keylogger, Wi-Fi controller, geofencing. So you can see USB rubber ducky, right? So you can see now this is not just any type of USB stick. You can see bash bunny, OMG plug. You can see, so they have a lot, a lot. So yeah, you can in your own free time you can go through their website to see what they have. This is the LAN turtle, key croc, and so on and so forth. So let me close this and get back to slideshow. So okay, so let me now stop taking questions and then I will try to attend to all the questions I have now. Okay, so can USB cable? Okay, yes, yes. So we attended this from Agbo Kelechi. Then Usime said under what malware those what apps hackers are. Okay, please, Osime, your question is not so clear, so please you might want to retype it. Then Monyolua says, please, how do we know which cookies are bad and which are good? So you have to go through the hard process of reading the terms and condition of those of that particular website that you are using to be able to know if it's you want to accept, right? So they should tell you, right, in mature companies, right? Sorry, in mature countries, right? you are supposed to be informed on what those cookies are being used for, what and what the cookie is tracking. So if you read the policies, right, the privacy policy of the website, then you will know if the cookie should be accepted or not. So next is Monyolua. Okay, I've answered Monyolua. Next is Eunice. There's this movie site. Okay, that redirects to a porn site. Yes, so that's an example of of hardware, right? So thank you very much. Then Oluwafemi Okpeyemi, could we also say that that is why using corrupted USB device with virus to uncorrupted ones get it? Cool. I'm not sure I understand this question. Let me read it again. Could we also say that that is why using corrupted USB devices with virus to uncorrupted one gets it corrupted? Yes. So probably the USB port has been affected. So any other USB device that gets plugged in also gets corrupted. All right. So well understood. Mobology, does this mean ads on websites could also indicate a malicious website? So this is going to be in two ways. So if you have too much ads, right, redirecting to places outside the website, that is a good indication, right? That is a strong indication rather that that website is not to be trusted, right? But then sometimes legitimate website could be compromised and these things could be brought in. So you might want to do a little bit of investigation before coming to conclusion. So that is for next Oluwadamilare. For phishing, how does hacker get accurate Gmails and phone numbers? So there are different ways attackers could get email addresses and phone number, right? So there's something we call OSINT, right, which is open source intelligence gathering, right? So open source intelligence, right? So if you carry out a good proper OSINT on a target organization, right, you should be able to find email addresses of their employee. An example, I mean, on the website, you are going to see email addresses, right? If you investigate, if you should look through LinkedIn, right? So now LinkedIn is better. Before, bots used to be able to scrape LinkedIn for informations like this, right? So yeah, if you look well through the internet, you should be able to gather most of this information. So then we have IV. So when you are streaming online, probably a movie box and there's a break in between, that's a sign of a malicious attack. Not necessarily IV, not necessarily. Chi Mary, can these Telegram bots have malwares? Yes, Telegram bots can have malware embedded in them. Um, Ololade says, can you explain patched vulnerabilities again? Your voice. Okay, so an unpatched vulnerability is a vulnerability that has not been what fixed. So let's say, for example, I am using let's say I'm using a software called Jesus is Lord, right? And I'm using version 4.0. Now, in the process of using the software called Jesus is Lord, a security vulnerability was detected on a high impact security vulnerability was detected on this software, right? And then they created a new version of this software, Jesus is Lord, was released, right? Version what? 5.0. If I am still using version 4.0, it is at my own risk, and that particular instance is an instance of me using what? An unpatched software. You get that means the vulnerability in my own version has not been patched. But if I should move to version 5.0, we know that that vulnerability has been what? Has been patched. So I hope this answers your question, Ololade. Okay, so Toluwalope Peters, those who hack WhatsApp accounts, what aspect of malwares are they classified under? So, to the best of my knowledge and from what I've observed, a lot of attacks that happen for WhatsApp account compromise happens through what we call social engineering. So they always need an input from the user. So, all right. So, I believe that should answer your question. So, have I attended to all? We have quite a lot, and it is very hard for me to answer all of this. Okay, so all right, so now it is 8 p.m. my time. So we are going to go on a quick 10 minutes break and then we'll come back and continue with the class. So thank you all very much. We will come back to continue. Thank you. All right, guys. So we are back now. We are back. Okay. All right. So please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section before we jump back to work, guys. Okay. Thank you, Luafemi. Yes. All right. So I will continue. So consequences of a malware attack. Consequences of a malware attack. So number one is data breaches. So exposure or theft of sensitive personal, financial, or intellectual property. So now, if you're thinking of data breach, now you must understand that it is not just personal alone; it is also organization wide. Organization wide. So the fact that it's you are thinking, it is just my system that is getting affected, so it's no big deal. No, once an attacker is getting into a network, his or her goal is not just one system. Ultimately, the goal is the entire network. So if this should happen, right, if your system or if one person's system should be infected, then there's a high chance that there's going to be what we call a data breach. So exposure or theft of what sensitive personal information. Now, when I say sensitive personal, financial, intellectual property, now it is not just that person's information. So we are in the digital age, right, where a lot of person's personal data gets submitted online. So imagine that the system holding all of this data gets breached. Then all these information are going to what exposed. All these information are going to be lost. All this information are going to be published online. So data breaches. Next, we have financial losses. So direct financial theft or losses due to what system downtime, due to recovery efforts or fines from what regulatory body. So now financial loss can come in different form. Maybe a system gets hacked and then attacker transfers money, right? Maybe compromise the mobile phone and then make transfer from the mobile application, right? Fine, that's one case. Another one could be due to what system downtime. So if a virus or a malicious a sorry, if a virus or a worm infects a system and then maybe replicates itself till all the system resources is has been exhausted, then probably forces the system to what to shut down. Now, or maybe this denial of service attack or distributed denial of service attack, which brings the system down to its knee. That means the system shuts down or the system goes offline. Now, if this should be happening for, let's say, a financial organization or whatsoever IT infrastructure this is happening on, there is a high chance that the organization owning that IT infrastructure is going to lose money in the period of this down time, right? Then recovery efforts, right? For them to recover from this attack, they need to pay professionals to help them work on this. So that still means that the organization is losing some money. And also most time when an organization gets infected by malware, maybe when an organization gets infected with a ransomware, gets falls victim for a ransomware attack, right? Even after recovering from this thing, there is a fine they are going to pay towards regulatory bodies. So that is under financial loss. So one way or the other, money is going to be lost. Then we have reputational damage. This in itself is a lot. So if an organization gets compromised, right, they are going to lose their customers' trust and their brand reputation is going to be damaged. So sometime even after a breach, an organization may not necessarily lose money, But if their reputation has been damaged, then their most maybe their customers are not going to what are not going to trust them anymore, which is going to what cost them money indirectly. So I hope we all understand this. It is as clear as it can be. Then next we have operational disruption. So operational disruption. So downtimes from affected system causes delay in what productivity and service delivery. So if there is what disruption in, if there is an infection, right, and the system, like I earlier stated, goes down, right, the system goes offline. So this is definitely going to affect how productive the organization is. It's definitely going to affect the service delivery of the organization. So let's say, for example, you have a food delivery service, right? An IT food delivery organization, right? And then maybe the server got infected and then the system goes down. Now, in the process of in the event, right, that the system goes down, that means that all orders that have been received before that will there's a high chance that they won't be what able to what process these orders, right? And still yet they won't be able to what take new orders yet. So I hope this explains operational disruption as clear as possible. And then next we have compliance violations. So like I said earlier, there are some compliance, there are some regulatory bodies that are going to find an organization that gets compromised. So this happens because compliance violation, failure to meet data protections like GDPR, HIPAA leads to fines and penalties. Yes. So that is it for this session. So please, we will be taking questions and contribution in the next 2 minutes. So this is 8:21 my time. So we will stop taking question 8:23. So quickly, if you have a question, if you have a contribution relating to what I have just explained, please now is a good time to type it. Then we continue as soon as we attend to those. Okay, so first question from Chi Mary, how do we identify phishing image? So you will want to look at the email header. You want to look at where the email is coming from, the address the email is coming from, right? You will want to look at that, right? Then you also look, oh, do I have any financial conversation with this person, right? So those are things you want to look at. So someone that is okay, I'm coming. So Jenny Global is asking what is the full meaning of HIPAA. So HIPAA stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, right? So this falls under governance, risks, and compliance, which we will be looking at very soon. So we have another one from Francis Pere. Um, I hope I am pronouncing that name correctly. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. General Data Protection Regulation. So we have from Keziah Alkali. Can I please, can you explain compliance violation? So compliance now for you to work in some industry as an IT organization, right? You need to meet up with certain standard. You need to meet up with certain compliance. I hope you are following, right? So, an example, let's say in the health sector, right? That's where we have the HIPAA, right? HIPAA, right? You need to meet up, you need to be HIPAA compliance for you to work as an IT firm in the health sector. Now, if you're an IT organization in the UK, you need to meet up with the GDPR, right? So if an organization should get infected, then definitely that means what they are not meeting up with that particular compliance. You get it? That means you get. So I hope this explains that. So GDPR, like I said, right, General Data Protection Regulation, right? In the UK, we have one over here in Nigeria, the NDPR. So you could look that up on Google. Yeah. So thank you guys. So let's continue. So malware prevention best practices. Malware prevention best practices. So one, right, you must make sure that you keep systems and softwares what updated by regularly patching the systems to what to close vulnerabilities, right? Then two, you use antivirus and anti-malware tools, right? Install reputable tools to detect and what remove malwares. Then next, you want enable firewalls, right? So block unauthorized access to what network by filtering traffic. So let me go over this again. One is what keeps soft systems and softwares up to date. Two is what use antivirus and anti-malware tools. Next is what enable the firewall. So let's continue. Then now, as an IT professional, as a cybersecurity analyst, you must also know that for you to be able to properly protect your organization, right, you must carry out what we call user training. So now there's what we call user training. You must be able to train or properly sensitize people, the people, the employees in that organization with knowledge, right? You must sensitize them with, oh, they must know this, they must know that there are consequences to doing certain things, right? If your system should get breached, there's a consequence. Now by consequence, it could be financial consequence, right? That maybe there's a fine that the organization is going to um, have to pay. So properly sanitize people with knowledge, sorry, properly sensitize people with knowledge. So user training, train employees to recognize phishing and social engineering attack. So just like somebody has, how do I recognize a phishing mail? And I say, oh, the content of the mail. So the email address it is coming from. You want to look at the email address, the email header. You want to look at where the email is coming from. Oh, do I have a pending conversation with this email? Is this email just coming out of the blues, right? So those are things you want to discuss with people when you are training them on how, so that you can prevent malwares from coming into the organization. Then we have network segmentation, right? So limit the spread of malware by segmenting your network into isolated sections. So what do we mean by network segmentation? This involves breaking your network into different parts, right? So we have class A. We know that, oh, no, not, let me not use that word now. For segment network segmentation, let's say we have network segment A, and we know that, oh, the only for network segment A, this is meant for what? The IT department. We have network segment B, and we know that, oh, the network segment B is meant for what? The HR department. So we know that, oh, network segment A has no communication with network segment B. So if HR department computer gets infected, we are sure that there is no way that the attacker can go ahead to infect what? The IT department network. So proper network segmentation. Right now, let me read this again so it will make more sense. So limit what? The spread of malware, right? So once you segment your network properly and you make sure that each department are in different network segments. So should in case an attack happen, we know that the attack is not, the malware is not going to be what? Able to spread into other parts of the network. So thank you very much. So quick interactive session. So please, if you have any question, let's take them in 2 minutes, please. Questions, and then we move as fast as possible. So let me go through the comment section now. Okay, what is the meaning of GDPR? I believe I said this already. NDPR, yes, for Nigeria. Somebody, okay, thank you very much, Francis Pere, for giving us meaning of GDPR again in the comment section. Temitokbe, you did not answer my question. Okay, I didn't see it. Please, can you quickly type that? So let me attempt to read Temitokbe. Um, Adirunke, in the process of installing a software and it asks to uninstall or stop our antivirus with the system. Yes, definitely. Why does the software want to uninstall your antivirus? So that is a red flag. That is a red flag. So any software you want to install that is telling you that you have to disable your antivirus now, that is a huge red flag. So how do I use administrative lock to lock up the Windows Defender firewall? Okay, don't worry. In more practical classes, we will be looking at some of these things, guys. So, Chiemere. So, Ogechi, if there's a bypass on Windows firewall, could that be identified as a rootkit malware? Yeah, possibly, but there needs to be better context for us to ultimately conclude that that is a rootkit. Ogechi. Okay, so Bamitale Bumi, how do we set up a firewall on the phone? So this is a bit hard, but most time for mobile devices, right? The firewall is we there's more reliance on network firewall, right? Because yes, so there's more reliance on the network firewall. Okay, meaning of HIPAA from Jane. I believe I said this already, right? I explained what I gave the meaning of HIPAA already, but let me go over it again. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So you can quickly look it up on Google to just familiarize yourself with it. Okay, so Chiemere is asking, is network segmentation the same as subnet? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So most time a segment A will not be able to talk with segment B. You understand? But oh, maybe subset A might I'm sorry, subnet A might be able to talk with subnet B. You get, so it's not the same. So Jane is asking, how do we segment our network? Okay, so that will be happening in the networking class. So that is not part of what we have planned for today. So Temitope Omojuwa is asking, how would we know if a particular ad is malicious? So you will know. Let's just put it that way. You will know from the content of the ad and the behavior of the ad. Most likely, you will know. So thank you all. Let's continue. So malware removal technique. So now there's a process you have to follow, right? You know, whenever you notice that a system in the organizational network has been infected, so the first thing is to identify the type of malware. So recognize symptoms and classify the malware. So you observe, okay, how does this malware behave, right? You get, so when you observe how the malware behave, then you can what you can properly classify the malware. So then after that now you isolate the infected device. So okay, computer A has been infected. What is the next thing I do? You disconnect the infected system from the network to prevent further spreading. So you make sure you disconnect it from the network to make sure that the infection will not move from computer A towards to computer B. Then the next thing you do is what safe mode and antivirus scan. So you boot the system into safe mode to prevent malware from loading, and then you run an antivirus scan on the system. Then next thing you do is what restore from backup. So restore from backup, this is most applicable when there's a ransomware incident. Maybe all the file has been encrypted, so you will bring back backup, you bring online the backup system. So if the malware damage is extensive, you restore from a clean backup. Then next you want to what? You want to remove persistence techniques. So you want to remove the persistent technique. So most time when an attacker is infecting a system, right, or maybe a network, they want to make sure that they can always come back into that system. They can always come back into that network whenever they want to. So then now what you do to what you check for malware persistent method, maybe example is auto run entries for Windows. Another good one is registry key. For Linux, you might want to look at cron jobs and those kind of things. Then you make, in order to what, to ensure full removal. So you make sure that there is nothing left that can bring back the attacker into the system or into the network. And then if the system is not up to date, you want to what, apply patches. So patch vulnerabilities exploited by the malware to what, avoid reinfection. So let's move quickly so we can cover all what we have for today. Okay, let's have a little interaction. So let's say, for example, now, so some person are asking, oh, how do I identify a malware? So I believe before now, peers have introduced platforms like Abuse IPDB to us, Virus Total, right? Okay, so if you are suspecting a software, you are suspecting, oh, maybe this software is not behaving the way it's, I don't just trust this software. I feel there's something fishy to this software. So you can drop the file to those platforms. Now, when you drop the file to those kind of platform, then they are going to run the file in a sandboxed environment, and then they are going to inform you what, on based on the behavior, based on static analysis and dynamic analysis, behavioral analysis of that particular software or that particular file. So as an example, let's quickly do something in that line. So let's go to virus total, right? You come here now. So you can see now that virus total supports what, checking files, supports checking URL, right? So if you have a link attached to a mail, right, that you don't trust, you can always bring that link to virus total, and then you enter the link here, so that virus total is going to scan and show you. You get, so we have file here. So let me quickly choose a file that I know to be malicious from my system. So you can see I have, it's uploading, now it is checking the behavior. So now you can see now that it's scanning it through various antivirus, right? Antivirus vendors, and it's telling me, oh, you can see now that a good number, we have 70 antivirus saying that, oh, this particular file that I have just uploaded, right? And you can see from the name that this is called what, banking record.ra, right? So it's a zip file, and you can see here that a lot, we have all these vendors saying, oh, it is what malicious. And then you can see that, oh, they are telling us is an exploit, and this is the CV that it is. This is the CV name. So now, as a security analyst, what the next thing you want to do to learn more about this now, you want to copy this now. So let's copy this now, and then we are going to quickly Google it, right? So what is this? And you can see that, oh, to exploit this, threat actors create what malicious zip files containing harmful files within a folder that mimics the name of the harmless file. So this is very, very correct from the file, because I actually created this malicious file myself, and I know this is exactly what I am trying to do. So now I believe we all see how useful this is, because I believe Peace introduced this to us during her session. So, okay, so thank you. So, all right. So, please, I hope we all understand. Yes, virus to Chemary, yes, virus total can scan applications. Okay, so you find a way to download the application, right? So you copy the application from your phone. No, an application, let's say an Android application is an APK file. So you find a way to move the APK file to virus total. You get. Then also there are links to applications. So let's say, for example, let's come here. Let's say what file can I safely use now? Okay, so let's say Facebook APK from what? Play Store. So you can see this Play Store. This will lead me to Facebook. You get, so we have this, right? So this is the page, right? So let me remove. So you can see this, right? So you could also as well copy this link, the link to the APK file, right? You could scan it in virus total. This is one you could do it. This is not necessarily the best way because it's not inspecting the APK, but you could inspect the what, the link to the file which you want to download. So you can see now that all these are telling me that it is what, it is clean. Get. So you could inspect, you could upload the link to the file that you want to download. Get. But then once you download a file, you can send APKs, right? Since you can send APK from one mobile phone to the other, that means you can actually copy it and upload it to virus total. So let's continue. So yes, yes, yes. Onyekere Miracle. So yes, so it is a file that looks legitimate, but is doing something else on that underground. So you can classify it as a Trojan horse. Okay, so Damilola, can you please change your system from dark mode? Okay, I'll work on that next time. That will be a distraction if I am doing that in this class. Okay, so what am I copying? I will simply copy, that is Tekubo Rachel, right? Rachel Tana. I believe I'm pronouncing your name. I'm killing your name, but please bear with me. So what I simply did was to copy the link to an application on Play Store. So we are just saying, oh, I want to download the application. We are just mimicking that. So copy the link to the application and then we upload it to what? To virus data to check if the link to the site is clean. Yeah. So that's, I was copying the link, right? Then Next is Benita. Mr. Emmanuel, how about using Netcraft, Abuser PDB, or anti-malware? Do we have to also use Virus Total? I heard using many antivirus or anti-malware extension at the same time can slow down our system. Okay, so let me start from using many antivirus, right? So if you notice the output of Virus Total, let me quickly go back there. Stop this, right? You will notice that what Virus Total is doing, right, is comparing different what antivirus. So these are different antivirus vendors. So some names you might not be familiar with. So it is that URL against a lot of what antivirus vendors. So you don't have to install it yourself. That's why you have Virus Total. So Virus Total is doing that for you. So using Netcraft now, Netcraft most is an extension you add to your website to your browser. You get so if I have Netcraft right on my browser, I don't need to copy link and be taking it to Virus Total to check. So as soon as I visit that page, Netcraft will automatically do its job. So it's just think of it as some of these tools actually perform the same action, right? They actually do the same thing, but they do it in different ways. So depending on the situation you find yourself, right, it could determine which of these two that you will use. So I hope that answers your question, Benita. All right, so good. So we can proceed. We can proceed. So types of malware detection, I'm sorry, tools for what malware detection and removal. So we have antivirus software. A lot of us are familiar with this. So we have Newton, we have Bit Defender, right? That provides real life protection and scanning, right? So one that is not on this list, but is very, very good that a lot of us have is the Windows Defender. Windows Defender for Windows user, very, very good. Then we have malware remover tools, right? So specialized tools like what malware bytes, right? Used for removing existing malware infection. So if you suspect that your malware has been infected, your system has been infected with malware, you can use tools like Malware Byte. You download it into your system, and then it will scan your system, look for malwares, and what automatically delete them, or you could tell it to delete them depending on the kind of prompt you get from it. So for those that might be wondering, a quick Google, simple Google search we do this. So if you do Malware Byte, search it, right? Then you can see malware by cybersecurity software and antivirus. So you can see here malware byte free download. So if you select this now, so free antivirus download, right? So once you download it, so you can see now we have for Windows, we have for what? We have for Apple, that is Mac operating system, and then we have for and Android, right? We also have for Chromebook and we have for iOS. So you download it, you install, and then you run. So it will perform the scan for you and try it as much as possible to help you remove the malware from your system. Then we have sandbox tools. So sandbox tools, these are an environment, right? And a controlled environment that you can put some of these malicious software or any software of choice, right? So you observe how the software behaves, right? How the malware behave, right? In order for you to judge how the software behaves, so you can judge if it is a legitimate software or it is actually a malicious software. So an example of this is what we call Cuckoo Sandbox. Then also Virus Total has their own sandbox environment. So if you let's go back to Virus Total, right? You should see something relating to that. So let's go back a bit. Okay, so if you check here now, you can see that we have different sections. We have detection, we have details, we have relations, we have behavior. So for this behavior section now, this you can see that what display grouped sandbox report. So they are using Zenbox, so which is like their own system where they actually run the file I uploaded, right? So they run this my file in their sandbox environment in order for them to be able to give me the information that they ended up what giving me. So let's continue. Now we are trying to beat time. Okay. Class is so slow paced today, but I believe everybody is following. Then we have network security tools like Wireshark for network traffic analysis. Then we have EDR solution, so endpoint detection and response solutions that monitor endpoint for malicious behavior. So for the sake of understanding and simplicity, right, think of EDR as a more advanced antivirus. So as you progress in this class and in your career, we'll be able to properly explain what an EDR is. So, but for the sake of simplicity and since judging with the fact that we are just starting in this class, let's think of it as a more as an how did I even say this again? As an upgraded antivirus. Let's think of it as an antivirus on steroid. Yes. So, okay, quickly to the questions. Okay, thank you, Marcus Deborah. So you can see, she said, I tried browsing through a website and Netcraft warned me about the page that it was malicious. Very, very good. Then, Juliet Ude, how do we use the malware byte? So you simply download it, install it, and then you run it. It is pretty straightforward to use. So you could practice that in your free time. Okay, so Damilare Oluwadiya said, Good evening, Mr. Emmanuel. What antivirus and firewall do you recommend as a cybersecurity analyst for Windows users? So for Windows user, I would say your Windows Defender is very, very on point. Yes, your Windows Defender is very, very on point. So it's going to work. It's going to give you the best service as a normal user. Yeah, as a normal Windows user. Yeah, it is free and it is very, very good. So we've done this. So malware attack. All right. So let's take a pause. Let's um time is against us, so let's not dabble into this. If not, we are going to overextend to this class. But I believe the example we've done with virus total should be good enough for this particular one. So, in conclusion, right? So, key point from today. So, malware can cause severe damages, right? But proactive prevention and preparation can what mitigate these risks. Then regular system updates, right? Patch, very, very important. Then user education. So, whatever organization you are working for, you must make sure that you properly sanitize the employees, you properly educate them about the risks that the organization is going to be exposed to should in case they get infected or compromised, right? Then, if a malware is detected, isolating the infection and following a structured removal process is very crucial. So, you notice that, oh, when we said, oh, the process, how to respond to a malware infection scenario, we said, oh, the first thing you want to do is identify, and after identifying, you isolate. So, it is very important that the next thing you do is what isolate the system in order to make sure that the malware is not spreading across the system, right? Then be prepared with backups and incident response plan to minimize downtime. Very, very important. Then that should be all. So thank you all for today's class. I appreciate your comments, and I want to believe that this style is helping us communicate better as a class. So thank you all very much. I would want to take a few questions before we call it a wrap for tonight. So please feel free to drop your questions. Yes, malwares can affect Microsoft Word, Francis. Yes, malwares can affect Microsoft Word. All right, guys. So I am not seeing any questions. So I want to believe that we all understand. And thank you all very much for the positive feedback and comments. I appreciate they mean a lot to me. So thank you all very much. We will be having our next question, our next session together. But before then, I have a couple of persons who have sent me messages that I will try as much as possible to respond as soon as possible. And since we are also on the same platform, I will try my possible best alongside Peace. We'll be trying our best to attend to the question. But you people shouldn't forget that we are also humans, right? So we have a lot of students in the group. So answering all the questions like in the blink in the as much as you expect, as soon as most people might expect, right, could be a bit hard, but we trust me, we will try our very best to attend to your questions as best as we can. So thank you all very much. Please have a good night's rest, and see you in the next class. Thank you.